I would like to share with you my views on security, or lack thereof. I mean, this talk is called Social Security for a reason. So I'd like to introduce myself as a bank robber, and I've been doing that for the last 18 years. Banks, telcos, government, mostly in Asia, they hired me to try to steal money from them. And everyone thinks the coolest job. But it's also a friendly advice. If you're a security consultant, it's better to say that if you want to pick up girls than saying you work with computers. It all started when I was 8. I watched Matthew Broderick play a hacker in the movie War Games. I didn't even know what a computer was at the time, and it was the 80s. But I knew I had to get one. And the next year I was learning English and programming. And then after everything went really fast, it was the Amiga, the Minitel, X25, BBSs, modems, and the internet and everything that followed. And I was really looking for trouble. Even my nickname was Frantic. It means like without breath, approximately. And you have to put things in context. At the time, the cops, might be the case still in France, but the cops used to type punch keys with 2 fingers and typewriters. And my mother, she thought I was playing video games. And then one day I'm in front of a judge, Juge Francis Brutti, and he's calling me a computer genius with a lamentable morality. And being French and with a big mouth, I should probably shut up at that point, but I replied and said, look, il ne faut pas confondre moralité, légalité et honnêteté. And from there, I was asking if there was no difference between morality, legality, and honesty. I thought I was going to be burned to do a career with computers. I actually wanted to study medicine, but I got away with a slap on the wrist. A jurisprudence was named after me and the FBI, and then the media to get me a reputation, which probably I didn't deserve at the time. And that jump-started my career in security. And I think that the reputation was also probably my luck, because to get to the level of expectation of everyone around me, businesses or my friends in the security and hacking community, I had to study and work a lot more and try to make a place for myself. So, but then after it became a second nature, and like the cook limb, I could always find a place to insert the blade and make a system fall apart. And I was also lucky to start security consulting in the 90s, because as I said, I thought I would be meant to do a career, but every time I met someone, they would say, oh, you're the guy from the Americans, yeah, I got a job for you. And most of my clients, they were aerospace and defense companies at first. They were the only people in the 90s that really cared about security. The banks, they were black boxes, completely closed from the outside, and same for the telcos. And most of the pen tests we did at the time, they were a bit shady. It's like only the CEO will know about the project, and everyone else in the company, they wouldn't know anything. Even though we had a contract or a letter saying that we were allowed to hack their system, they could call the DST or the police, and we could get arrested. Even though we can have a permission to hack a system, we should not cause public disorder, and just calling the cops or the fire brigade may be considered as such. So it was interesting, because most of the time we didn't have a fixed cop. I mean, most of the security project today, you have to test one particular system, and then you're not allowed to look at everything around. It's a bit like checking the security of a door, and the client tells you, look, don't look at the open windows, we know about it. And working for aerospace companies, banks and telcos, and I worked for a bank of Indonesia, for the Ministry of Budget and Planning in Vietnam. I worked for a big organization, and it was a unique chance to see how all this, we talk today a lot about big data, there's a new buzzword, and it was a unique chance to see how it's structured, and how beautiful and fragile it is. But in reality, it's not just kidding, it's really ugly. And when I was 5 years old, I lived 1 year in Zeralda in Algeria, and I remember we ate in the same hotel, in the restaurant of the hotel, every day for a year. It was the Hotel Mazafran, and then one day my mother, she asked permission to cook a turkey in the restaurant's kitchen. And so I was holding my mother's hand, and we get inside the kitchen, and everything is black. Like the walls, the countertops, everything is black, and you cannot pinpoint, what's wrong there. But besides the color, there's something a bit strange, and you feel a little bit dizzy, but you cannot tell what it is until the cook comes around and you start making space for a plate, and you see everything is moving. And the black on the walls and the countertops, they were cockroaches, all of it. And that reminds me a bit, what I see when I test the security of a business. You look at on the Champs-Élysées at Louis Vuitton, you have this shiny front, and it's like you're a flat panel. Like you look behind, there's a bunch of cables, you don't know what to do with them, and there's dust bowls and sometimes cockroaches. But it's exciting at first to test the security of system, but then after a while you're like, what am I doing? Does it have any meaning? Because you go to a bank, you test their core banking system, you hack them their mobile banking app and everything, and you tell them, you say, look, you have to fix this, you have to do that, you have to address the root cause, and then you give them security training, teach the programmers how to do things, and then you come back a year later and it hasn't improved, it's worse, and they have even more products, always insecure, and the people are still incompetent in terms of security. And then I felt like, like Sisyphus, it's this guy who was condemned to do always the same meaningless task, to push this boulder. So it's like security consulting is a bit like pushing stupidity uphill and just look at it, go down again. And that's why I quit security consulting. Now I'm focusing on the startup project. We just raised $1 million. We're trying to turn stupidity into a currency that you can invest in anything. But that's another story. Just a little disclaimer. So I come to the conference. I haven't watched most of the talk, but I like to come to conferences to meet people and exchange ideas and views. And but one thing I hear a lot is, I cannot say this, because my client, will be unhappy, or my boss is going to fire me if I talk to the press, etc. And so the little disclaimer is that I can name people, an organization. I don't care. I'm free from censorship. I don't have clients that pay me for security consulting anymore. So I might be naming a few people, but so don't be shocked. The sad reality is that I believe that privacy and security do not exist. Of course, we have regulations, and compliance issues, etc. We have privacy rights, but they are not there. They're there just to protect us from honest people and organizations. The bad guys, if they don't have the right, they take the left. And the government, we always complain about, but they already buy 0 days from UPenn, and they're already reading our mails, as we speak. And in France, most of the directors of security in the big groups, they're all like former DST, it's not called DST anymore, but they're all former ex-Intel, ex-cop, barbouz in French. And they're always loyal to their maison. And I remember actually my first client in France was Canal Plus, and the guy I used to talk to was Gilles Caillin, a former RG, an ancien des renseignements généraux. And it was really funny because he said, hey, I might need your help for a personal project. I'm building this database on people. And it must be, I'll say it in French, it was with un accent niçois. It was like, je veux faire une base de données sur les gens, il faut que ce soit facilement destructible. The guy got arrested like about 10 years later for spying on Canal Plus employees. And that was the environment. That was one reason I left France and moved to Jakarta for 10 years. It was, even though I was doing security consulting and everything, you never knew really what was going on. So I will do a project, like a lot of the project came from Philippe Gorju, who was the former head of Chargy, and we didn't have to do a lot of marketing. But I was never in front of the client. I was kept in the back of the room. Don't talk to the client. We take 60%, and just do your work. And the problem is that sometimes you're wondering, am I testing the security of a client, or is it the competitor of my client? And So this lack of clarity about my work was one of the things that pushed me away from France for a while. I think that to believe that we can have privacy and security is a bit dangerous. I mean, I'm not saying that the work that we are doing or have been doing is completely pointless. You know, we need controls actually to protect ourselves and honest people. But to believe that we can have privacy is a bit ridiculous. I like to quote my good friend Theodorat, the founder and leader of the OpenBSD and OpenSSH project, when he says, "You're absolutely deluded, if not stupid, if you think that a worldwide collection of software engineers who cannot write operating system and application without security holes can then turn around and suddenly write virtualization layers without security holes." So now, if you want to see something intelligent, you can just replace virtualization layer with any of your favorite buzzword. So, there are too many trust dependencies. You never know who you trust. You know, it's like, you know, you kiss a girl. You know, it's, oh, maybe I can trust her. But, you know, maybe she did the same with 5 other guys. And you think you're trusting one person, one business. You're trusting, you know, a bunch of third parties, contractors, etc. So you can have a company that's certified with ISO 27001, but then they have 100 open system vendors that are completely insecure, don't care about your security, and there are too many trust dependencies. I mean, it's like trying to compile something on Linux. You know, you become crazy. There's always one library missing. But it's also the similar problem with security and trust. And trust, I believe, is one of the biggest problems in security because, like most people, they don't even know. You know, what's the definition of trust? The question comes all the time. Like in 18 years, I've heard that from every client. You're a former computer criminal. How can we trust you? And I tell them, I say, look, you know, the people you trust is the problem, not the people you don't trust. If I want to hack your bank and steal your money, I wouldn't be talking to you. I wouldn't, you know, be asking you to sign a contract. I will be already taking the money. And when you open the dictionary and you look at the definition of trust, and this is from the Oxford Dictionary, it says firm belief in the reliability, truth, or ability of someone or something. And then I particularly like 1.1, acceptance of the truth of a statement without evidence or investigation. And so if we recurse a little bit, like belief is also fun, it's an acceptance that something exists or is true, especially one without proof. And so we have all this, we talk about trust every day. And we've seen with the certificate authority and everything, I mean, there is no trust, there is no security at the end. And another problem is pride. Like, I started security consulting when I was 20. And that was one of the reasons my partners avoided that I talk to clients. Also, I used to say a lot of stupid things. I still do. I was doing this project for, the company doesn't exist anymore, but I was doing this project for Aérospatiale, Espace et Défense in Cannes. And actually, to get a project, I was telling my friend Pascal André, who at the time was, now he's at Airbus, but at the time he was in charge of strategy and intelligence. And I said, look, you know, I think that I should try this stuff on your network if you want. And they said, well, let me ask permission. And he calls back 5 minutes and say, yeah, okay, no problem, just try. And I said, well, I'm already in. And so he calls Cam. And he tells them, he says, look, we think that someone hacked into your systems and has access to like proposals and a bunch of confidential stuff. And the first reply, before they even check the logs, they say, no intrusion. And then Pascal goes like, oh, maybe you should check the logs. And they call back, no hacker, and no intrusion. And then after, I say, look, we'll give you some time, just make sure you check all the logs, you check all the machines. We're really sure we have evidence that there's a hacker on your system. After 2 days, you know, the guy said, no hacker. And so Pascal said, look, can you change like a message? And it was the web page of, and he goes like, can you put like vous avez le bonjour de Pascal de Corse? And the next day I was in the plane, and it was really funny because the system admins, they were third-party contractors, and they were shaking and saying like, this is not legal. And so the first thing we did, we made a recommendation, said, look, you cannot really trust third parties for sensitive stuff, so you should hire them. So the next time I went to Cannes, they were really, really friendly. But the main issue when I was talking about Pride is that the head of security there was a former, I think it was DST or DGA or something like that. And the first thing he did was worry about losing face. So he called and he said, look, we have a problem, with Zboralski. When he does a penetration test, it feels like a penetration. And, that was the only thing he cared about. He actually tried to stop the project. I say, now, after that, every time I was in front of a client, I always give a disclaimer, and I try to keep a sober face when I disclose negative findings. It's a bit like you're telling, try to avoid having a smile when you're a doctor, you tell a patient that they have cancer. But I will give a disclaimer saying, look, we're not the police, we're not here to point out, all the flaws and everything. And I always try to give a few positive findings. Say like, this you did it well, this you did it well as well, but this is really bad, And you hired us, that's really good. But pride is a problem. And for businesses and a lot of people, they think that security is just a product that you can buy and install. And that's probably why, most of the, and I believe it's not, and I think that most of the security products we have on the market today, it's snake oil. Security is not a product, it's not really a thing, it's a discipline, of preparing for failure. I like to use the example of a safe, because the best safe you can buy on the market, so I think it's a TXTL 60, and so you can use it to store diamonds and money. You cannot put more than 100,000 pounds of cash inside the safe, because otherwise the insurance, they will not cover you, and the safe costs 20,000 pounds, and the TLTX indicates that it can resist to explosives, thermic lens attack, and a bunch of other attacks. And they have an independent lab that that test the thing and actually try to break it. So probably the bad guys, they might be a step ahead, But still, what's interesting about the TLTX 60 is the number. So you can have it in 3 models: 15, 30, and 60. And you probably have guessed, what's the number for. It's the number of minutes that the safe will withstand an attack. So security is not the safe. Like, the safe is just a control. It's like we control the access to the safe, But the security is, having the safe, having the CCTV, having guards, having the police that can come in and everything. And that's, it's always preparing for failure. I don't know if you watched the Sopranos or The Godfather. I mean, when you see a mafia guy in a movie, and they don't like to talk on the phone, maybe the police is not listening, but just in case the police is listening, you don't talk on the phone, and that's security. So it's the same, if you don't want your picture of you naked on the internet, you don't put it on the internet. And it sounds like a lame advice, but it's probably one of the best you can get. Another problem is that the businesses, they do not care about security. They care about money, and that's the only thing that they care. So all the security is not around the confidentiality of your Facebook messages. It's about, how to take money, how to keep the money, and how to pay as little as possible in taxes and salaries. That's quite fitting, being in the headquarters of the Communist Party. But what I mean is, I like to quote Ross, who says, healthcare companies, they're not in the business to save lives, they provide healthcare to make profit. All companies, they do not seek to protect the environment except to meet regulation or to protect their public image. So, if a business only cares about money, what happens is this. You're a telecom operator and you want to build a mobile wallet system. Who are you going to hire? Well, not the people here that know about security. No. They're going to hire someone who knows how to take money from a mobile customer. So they're going to hire the guys who do the ringtones and the stupid games. And now you take a hotel. Now, in most of the hotels today, the internet is free, but they used to charge for internet. And so to build hotel customers, hotel guests, the internet, they hire people that know how to interface with their PMS, their property management system. And so those guys are the guys that used to charge for porn movies in hotel. And they know nothing about computers, they know nothing about security, but they get the project. And when they get the project, they get $2 million, and quite often for empty promises. There's actually a funny one there. There was this company who specialized in ringtones, strictly games, and now mobile wallets. They got $2 million to build a mobile wallet system, and they make a bunch of promises. They say, well, you're going to be, like, your customer going to be able to pay the electricity bill, and they're going to be able to do this and that and that. And so they managed to get the project, and then when the project started, they say, oh, so you're going to deliver this in 30 days? And they say, no. And you're going to do this? No. And what about the electricity bill? No. And they answer no to everything and say, but it was in term of reference, it was in the request for proposal. And it was in your proposal. I said, yeah, but it was not in the contract, we're not going to do it. They said, you say you're going to do it in 30 days? Yeah, well, it's impossible. And about the electricity billing, we're going to give you an API, you're going to do it yourself. So for $2 million, what they got was MySQL and Perl.exe, and that's it. And when you look at the database schema, it was really, really funny. And then they come to us, like the security consultants, and they go like, hey, can you test the security? And they give us, and we have to haggle. It's like they always see security as a cost, so we have to haggle. And they pay $2 million already to some wankers who don't know how to do anything. So now they feel like, well, maybe we shouldn't pay that much. And so we get $50K to tell the semi-competent people how they should have done the job in the first place. C'est le consultant sécurité, c'est l'inspecteur des travaux finis. So, and the funny thing about the money is that if it's not missing, like they don't even notice they get hacked. So, if, you probably don't even need to use the 0-day, but if you use the 0-day, you're completely invisible as long as you don't touch the money. So, you cannot touch the money, but you can tag all the strategic emails, confidential files or whatever. You can just copy everything. As long as the data or the money is not missing, you're fine. And that's actually how I managed to stay out of jail when I was younger. Another problem is that the business and most security vendors, they focus on non and past attacks. And that's not just limited to computer systems. Like in finance, when we have the subprime crisis, it becomes, oh, we're going to regulate. And so we have new controls, new regulation. Next time it's going to be insurance, they're going to crash. And we'll regulate again. So we always look at the past, at the non-attacks, and we're still vulnerable. And it's the same with terrorism. You have September 11, we're going to secure the airports. Next time it's going to be the train, or next time it's going to be a gas attack or something. After a while, I really felt it was completely absurd. I felt my job was it's a bit depressing. It's like you build something and it gets broken every time you finish building it. And you have absurd situation where one of the top banks in the UK, they spend £9 million. They probably spend the most money in security than any other bank. They spend £9 million in pen tests and code reviews. Every time they do a change to their mobile app, or they have a mobile banking app and a mobile wallet app. So now you could probably guess what it is, but they spend all this money, but everything else besides the mobile gateway and the mobile app, and they have a few components they want secure, but everything else is completely open. If I'm a bad guy, I told them, I said, look, you have to secure your R&D department. You cannot just do this. And they say, yeah, and they never do it. And if I'm a bad guy, why should I try to break some encryption key? Why should I try to break into a server when everything I can commit I wouldn't put a backdoor, but I can introduce some programming mistake, or I can just compromise the people that have access to the system. That's another stupid thing. It's like I don't understand why we have security projects where the scope is always limited to specific items in the infrastructure. So I'm a bit pessimistic on what we can do to improve security. I feel like the problem is always the same. I try to help clients, teach them about security, and it doesn't work. People don't care. The only thing I can close, and I felt, oh, maybe that there's maybe this is part of the solution. It was superstition. I started doing that with some clients and with my colleagues and friends. Is instead of telling them, you shouldn't reuse the same password, or you shouldn't have, you shouldn't do this or do that, I tell them it's bad luck. And that's the funny thing, is that they actually listen, and it works for everything. Like in the car, if I tell my friend who's an aerospace engineer, I say, look, why don't you wear your seatbelt? I say, oh, you're driving slowly. What about the car coming in front of you? They're driving fast. And he wouldn't wear the seatbelt until I told him, it was bad luck. And then he started wearing his seatbelt. It's the same for everything. And you can try, next time, the client asks you why, tell them it's bad luck. And then you explain after, and you go, oh yeah, it's like, yeah, you get hacked, it's bad, why? You get hacked. And an interesting solution, that's probably not fitting for the Communist Party, is to invest in the companies we trust. Can I see a show of hands? Who's using OpenSSH? I guess most of you are using it. Yeah? Okay. Can you keep your hand up? Okay. If you have donated to OpenSSH Foundation, or can you keep your hand up? Okay, there's not a lot of people, but who owns an iPhone or an Android here? Okay, that's nearly everyone. Like there must be a few guys with a Nokia. From you guys who have an iPhone and Android, who among you have shares, like stock market shares of Apple or Google? Now you see, like, well, here the audience is mostly like security engineers and security researchers and consultants, but I like to explain, that the problem is, if you want to make people care about security, you need to have a relationship. So you can complain about the privacy controls of Facebook, but they don't care. They care about making money. They care about two things: making money and keeping the shareholders happy. So if you protest against Google or Facebook, you're outside the shareholders meeting, and you're a protester and you get arrested. Now, if you own shares of Apple or Google, you're inside the shareholders meeting and you can complain. And you have a relationship, and they do care about you. It also makes business sense. If you buy an iPod when it came out, it's $399. If you bought 20 shares of Apple, it was $388. $11, yeah, less. But the funny thing is that today, if you bought the iPod, you have nothing. Maybe a dead iPod at the back of your room. And if you bought the shares, today you have $28,000. So you could have lost everything. But what I like is we should invest in the thing that we use and we trust every day. So the guys, like to applaud the guys who donated to the OpenBSD and OpenSSH, because like Theo always complained that he doesn't get any donation. And again, if you feel betrayed, if you feel that those businesses, they don't behave correctly, you can always sell your shares, and that has a lot more impact than any regulation you can put in place. Like most of the regulation, like the businesses, they work a little bit like hackers. You put controls in place and they find a way around it. And businesses, I think they're really good at hacking, hacking laws and regulations. Again, I think that, to be fair, when I talk about businesses, I don't talk about the people that are inside the business, doing work, etc. I'm talking about the business itself. So I know that there's a lot of people here. They try to build a secure internet, and I believe a lot of you are present here today. But it's going to be a difficult and hard work for you guys. I think there's not much tips and advice except what I tell people around me. They say, oh, how can we deal with all these security holes and everything? Like people they use computers now and they worry about their emails. They worry about. I said just behave like the mafia. You know, if you don't want something to be known, you just don't say it. And another advice I tell people, and I did this when I came back from Jakarta. I had 10 years, actually maybe 13 years of data that I kept. Some of it encrypted, some of it maybe I forgot to encrypt. And I was like, shit, if this thing is compromised, you know, I might go to jail until the end of my life. I exaggerate a little bit, of course. But I was thinking, you know, how do you go through 10 years of data? You know, unless you have the discipline. I don't have much discipline. That's what the teacher used to tell me. It just takes too much time, so it was really hard, but I had this 150 kilo magnet and I erased all the data, and then I dumped the hard disk somewhere. But I think we should be careful with our data, maybe get rid of it, you know, or be disciplined about it. And since most of you, I can see probably a show of hands, who's a security consultant in the room? Okay, researchers? Okay. The guys creating the security holes, computer engineers? They're hiding. What I would advise, you know, is like try to avoid consulting, try to build and own the things around you. You know, at the end, you know, you're gonna wake up 10 years from now, and you will feel, you know, as unheard as you are today, and you'll have nothing. So, you know, instead of looking at the guys, you know, that are making the millions of dollars, you know, building a stupid mobile assistant and secure, we should be building them. And I think that's my you know, takeaway I can give you. And also, if you're looking for a job, you can always, you know, there's a lot of people that call me that want security, but I always say no now. Well, that's about it. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer. Again, I can say things that without punishment, so just ask away. And thank you. Thank you.
To be a question, to be a remark, or a different experience.
Had a question in the back? The guy in the gold blue shirt.
So you said that it's hard to convince clients about security issues and the fact that they need to be fixed. So do you think that the difficulty is, because I'm thinking like, you know, what your clients probably understand is, you know, if I don't do this, then I'm going to lose this much money. I guess they understand these kind of arguments. So do you think that if you want to make an argument, that's how you should make it? Like, you could say that, okay, if you don't implement the security feature, then what happened to company X could happen to you and you'll lose this much. Do you think that's a good way of making an argument, or do you think that you should get into other issues as well? I don't know, ethical issues or anything like that, or do you think that you can't build an argument like that for a client?
So the question is how to talk to the client and make them listen to you. From my experience, it's easier to get the client's ear if you talk about money. So, and I've been in meetings where the guy actually pretended to sleep until we say, like, this is how we managed to steal your money, and then suddenly he woke up. And it was really funny because the guy actually started talking in Indonesian in front of us, like if we didn't exist. And he says, "How'd you trust those guys?" Because, you know, the cops, you know, that turn bandit at night, you know, that's quite common. You know, do you trust them? And I replied to him and said, look, you know, I'm more scared of you than the police. The guy was actually quite scary. But yeah, to answer your question, it's always better to think about business impact. When I used to give a report, I will have a high-level report where we just highlight, you know, using screenshot, not a lot of text, but what is the actual impact on the business, and that was for the management, and then with an action list of things they should do, you know, like hire us again, get training from us, and then for the tech people, I will have 1 or 2 day workshop where we go through all the findings and making sure the client understands each of the findings and recommendations, and sign off the acceptance of the project. Does that answer your question? But yeah, business impact, really, really, really important. Sounds like a consulting talk, but. Oh, another thing is funny because most people, like the guy from Aerospatiale who cares about his pride and losing face, most people, they care about their own security. So it's easier if you use examples that speak to them. So you can show them that you can compromise their Wi-Fi network, they won't care. But if you show them that you can compromise their Wi-Fi network and read their Facebook messages, then suddenly they listen right away.
Just another question, more like social one. When you were speaking about false sense of security, in my personal opinion, I think that user education could be like a big step in this field. And I don't know if I share your pessimism about security, but I might think that if we can educate people and users about security, we can improve the overall security and sense of security.
Yeah, as I say, I agree and disagree. I think security is pessimism. So, of course, all the things that we do, that help. But what's dangerous is not, what's dangerous is to believe that we are secure. So all the work that we do is useful, it's meaningful, it helps, protect our systems from honest people and the wolves, but it's what I mean by, it's dangerous that we believe that security can be just installed and be closed, So what we're doing, testing the security of systems, breaking them down, finding vulnerabilities, I think that's really useful. In terms of education, that's another debate because you have instruction and what is it called? You have the instruction of knowledge and the construction of knowledge. And the problem that we have today is that people, especially with computer studies and everything, they don't learn database fundamentals anymore. They learn Oracle or MS SQL. They don't learn algorithm. They learn how to use one specific. They learn how to use Visual Studio. They learn how to use product. They don't understand anything about the fundamentals. And I think that's also the danger. It's there's the complete abstraction of knowledge, and people, they don't know what they're talking about. When you ask people, you go around. You don't even have to talk about security. You ask people around, what is money? What is trust? What is value or price, etc. People do not know. They're floating, with ballon baudruche, and it's there's no fundamentals anymore.
Okay, thank you. Maybe but we run a small challenge, which was a reverse engineering challenge, and so the guys who designed the challenge are going to present to us inside with a few slides. There are mostly cats and animated GIFs. Should be okay. And then, sorry, that was a secret. And then we have the winner will make a short presentation about the solution, and then I think we will conclude the day and the conference. So thank you again.
Thank you.
Okay, so I will be very quick at explaining doing a little introduction about the capture the flag challenge that we've done. So don't ask why there are cats on the slide, it's just whatever. So we wanted to mix different kind of knowledge, use some reversing engineering knowledge, some exploit writing for web application or for very low level vulnerability, and finally wanted to play with some cryptographic functions. So some statistics, so we had a bit less than 1,000 people who downloaded the first level of the challenge. It was split into 3 levels. We got 159 who finished the first level, and then you can see the funnel effect. We get less and less people. And so we would like to congratulate the 5 people, so Fabien, and there is 2 team of two persons who did it, and it was quite impressive, as you will see after, sorry. They made a pretty good work. So some other stats. Where is the GIF? Where is the GIF?
There was supposed to be a GIF.
It's not funny anymore, okay. Whatever, so we had some accurate scan, some less scan. Obviously it didn't work well to compromise the CDF, but whatever. Here we have cats, yeah, okay. So we blocked some Python and the shellcode failed. We were trying to reverse connect back to the actual place. And another funny fact is after the stage 2, it was about Stack Overflow exploitation, as you will see after. So we have seen that there were a bit more than 1,000 shellcode who segfaulted. And the funny fact is that we have been able to block more than 200 attacks at the seccomp level. So we have been learning what Google is doing with sandboxing, and we are replicating the same. Okay, thank you. We will eventually release the code, and Fabien will explain you the whole thing. Thank you. This guy knows how to code a cache attack on a processor, but doesn't know to solve science like. Yeah.
design. Well, if you're interested in the details of some parts, you have various solutions published on the NoSuchCan website. First, I will briefly introduce myself. I'm Fabien Perigo. I'm a reverse engineer in Airbus Defence and Space, and I like playing with security challenges. NSC challenge was divided in 3 parts, like they said. First part was MIPS crack me, second part web Python exploitation, and the third and last part was a mix of x64 and cryptographic exploitation. Well, first the MIPS crack me, so it's classical half MIPS. It can be executed in QEMU, and thanks to publicly available Debian images, we can fast execute the crack.me and start debugging it. If we load it in IDA, we quickly see a big ugly block, but the main structure of the main function is quite simple. In fact, first the length of the password is compared to the Euro-X30. Then it's converted from the hexadecimal representation to something else. Then the program forks, and the father will execute the debug function when the child will go to this big block and make some transformation of the password, and then the final password is compared to a static string. If we have a look in the big block, we have some set of instructions separated by break instructions. We'll see later why. So if we have a look at the parent, the debug function in fact waits for the child to break, then retrieve the PC, which is the program counter value with a ptrace. There's another big block which computes a new value for the PC. We don't really care. And then it replaces the PC and the child context with this new computed value. We can see that the operation on PC are totally independent from the password we enter. So in fact, we can compute all the values once, and then we don't care about the debug function. So this can be done with a simple GDB script. We break first when the PC is retrieved, we print it, and then we break when the PC is replaced in the context of the child, and we print it. So in the child, well, the big block in fact operates on the 60 words of the password. So there's a loop, and for each execution of the block, we operate on a D word. This block can be divided in about 100 small blocks, which are separated by the break instruction, as we have seen in the previous slide. But in fact, there's only about 10 different operations, so these are not add, sub, XOR rotations with either immediate values or a counter. So with basic pattern matching, we can transform all this big block in a set of basic instructions. So we can make a script to extract the operands from IDA and then use the script to simplify the block. So with this and the previous computed PC values, we can then revert the algorithm. So starting with the hard-coded string, we can revert and find the initial password, and then resolve the first part. So first part gives us URL to the next part of the challenge, which is web. So, well, not so cool. Well, this is a web application to post messages, so we can have a editorial text. If we try to post a message, we can see that in the request there are some tags in the body. So, well, this seems like XML, so we can start classical attacks against XML like XXE. So if we try to read, for example, etc password, the server returns an error message saying that the XML detail is invalid. So we have confirmed that there's an XML password, but it can't read the etc password file. But with XXE, you can also list directories. So if we try to list the root directory, we can see that a new message appears with 2 file names inside. So we succeeded in listing the directory, and with the same vulnerability, we can retrieve these 2 files.